Hi, everybody. I'm Audrey Moore with Audrey Helps Actors, and this is episode number 39, Feeling Fine About Your Commercial Contract that we just spent years in the making renegotiating. Woohoo! You guys, this is a commercial contract episode, and I'm going to let you know about all the money you're going to get every time you book a commercial. I am joined by Katie and Katie Von Till and Katie Wallack, who are part of the negotiating committee in New York. They sacrifice blood, sweat, tears, hours, time, volunteered as actor performers to go to New York and sit on the negotiating committee and work with our negotiation partners to come up with these deals that we have. If you have previously booked commercials, this is the episode for you. If you intend on ever booking a commercial, this is the episode for you. I'm just really so excited. So we have a few things to discuss. You guys, I'm loving your iTunes reviews. You make me so happy. And I really have been loving the feedback on all these episodes. I know you guys were so touched by the Laura Spencer episode. I've got so many people reaching out for that one. Also, Ashley's episode made such an impact on everyone. Everyone was fired up, ready to go after Ashley's episode. So many congrats to all of you who were inspired. And so many of you have been sending me your SAG membership joining pictures. You guys, I'm just so proud of you all. I'm just so glad that all of this information is getting through to you and you are realizing that being a union working member is beautiful, it is deserved, and you are worth it, and you deserve to get paid properly, treated properly, and protected. Oh my God, it's so great. Okay, so we are going to talk about the meetings that are happening. So there are meetings that are going on, just so you guys can remember. The LA meeting, I will be there. We will be discussing this contract in further detail. We're just giving you sort of like the general highlights in this episode because nobody got time for a 4-hour episode about your commercial contract. But I'm going to see you there in LA, you guys. That is on the 24th, 6 to 8 p.m. at the Sheraton. I think it's going to be posted on my Instagram. It's already posted there. If you want details, go to my Instagram, Audrey Helps Actors on the gram. And New York, Chicago, you're also having your own meetings, and the rest of you live streams. So you know what? I know you're going to see me there, and I'm just like so excited. Also, I want to do a little shout out to the wonderful, the one, the only. You know, sometimes you guys, you work really hard, you get to LA and you push through and you start making strides. And sometimes that is in, bookings of jobs. And sometimes that's just in getting a better side job. And I am so proud of Ashley Ramos because she has really been doing the work and moving forward. So if you know Ashley, you give her a tally-ho. Go forth and conquer, my love. Just a quick reminder before we bounce out that we are going to be doing Self-Tape May, Monday through Thursday. All of May, I will be joining you. You're going to be posting your self-tapes, and we have changed the price from just a signed towel to you are going to get a signed Audrey Helps Actors towel, and you're going to come in and receive it via doing an interview with me for Audrey Helps Actors. So winner, we will choose at random, and we're going to have you come on to the podcast. Now, if you are in another market, we're going to find a way to do it regardless of whether or not you're in another market. So all hands on deck, all hands on deck. We are doing Self-Tape May. You can find sides on showfax.com. That's a really easy thing to do. Just make sure that the sides that you are finding have already aired. We don't want you doing any sides from things that have not aired. People get upset about that. So I don't want anyone upset at you. Also, any of the workshop sites, they usually have like a library of old school sides that you can go ahead and put up. But honestly, Google pilots from previous seasons. If you do, pilot season 2017, pick a pilot and then Google, A to Z pilot script, and you're going to have somebody post it. You can find West Wing side. Somebody transcribed all of every single West Wing episode. I mean, just practice. There's lots of sides all over the place. It just matters that you're putting your time and work in, okay? If you want to participate and you're a little nervous about having a reader to work with you, if you want, check out weaudition.com, promo code Audrey25, Audrey25 promo code, and that is such an incredible resource for you to practice this. You can actually do the self-tape on weaudition.com. There's a little button for recording, for saving, and then you can go ahead and post it to your gram life. That's where I'm checking it. Hashtag self-tape May, starting the first Monday of May. Look so forward to it. Yay, self-tape May! All right, you guys, I hope you're on your way to an audition. And you book it. I hope it's a commercial and you book it.
Audrey helps actors because they don't know anything.
Hi, everybody. I'm Audrey Moore with Audrey Helps Actors, and we have two Katies today. First, we have
Katie Von Till.
Welcome back, Katie Von
Thank
Till.
you.
And we have
Katie Wallack.
Two Katies.
Working it out.
Doing the union stuff. Two Katies.
Here on the podcast. I can't do anymore.
Okay, we've got some good improv comedy here. I think we should do it again because we should do it from the start.
Oh.
Two Katies.
Yeah, that's our thing.
Working it out. Okay,
yeah,
ready?
yeah.
And we have today two Katies.
Two Katies. Working it out. Doing the union stuff. Two Katies. Doing it all. We have done enough.
Yeah, that's good.
One person's really good at things.
Yeah, it's okay. She's got a background in musical comedy, so we're going to let her fly with it. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Okay, so today is a really important episode for all of you listening. We are going to be discussing the brand new, newly negotiated SAG-AFTRA commercials contract.
Dun, da, da.
Dun, da, da. Okay, so if you are interested in working a commercial ever in your life, and I can just say, you want to be interested in working commercials. It's good times. It's good money.
It is.
It's good money.
And if you have currently been working in commercials, this is an episode for you. Now, if you are thinking to yourself, well, I don't do commercials, and so I don't care. Let me explain why this is also really important to you as well. This is going to be an episode wherein we discuss the entire process of negotiating contracts. So we have just come up with this commercial contract after a negotiation that was an intense, ladies, long process.
Yes.
I'll discuss with them what that means, and we are about to go into the fall, I think, into the W&Ws for the theatrical contract.
Correct.
So if you are listening to this and you're thinking, boy, gee, golly gosh, I sure wish I had been more involved. Well, you still can for your theatrical contract. And all of those of you who are like, the internet streaming residuals and I'm just SAG-AFTRA and blah, blah, blah. You have to go to a meeting. You have to go in particular to these meetings. So we're going to go ahead and discuss what that process is. It's not like a random group of people who decide they're going to go. Okay, go ahead.
I actually ran into an actor at a callback, and at the callback, the casting director came up to me. She knows I do the negotiating stuff, and she's like, "Are you guys ready? Are you excited to go?" This is before we left, and he's like, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Oh, I'm on the negotiating committee, and we're about to go into negotiations." Negotiations for what?
Yeah.
The commercial contract. He goes, "Oh, are you staff?" I go, No, I'm an actor, and I'm going to negotiations. We negotiate our contracts. And he said, "Oh, I always thought magical little elves did that." That's what he said.
This is, and it's. I'm so glad he articulated it because that's what everyone thinks when. And I say this on the podcast again and again and again. One of the things that I'm constantly trying to beat into the heads of the actors who listen is that when you say the union, when people are like, "And the union, will the union," I want you to now change that to we.
Wonderful.
We don't, we haven't. So if you feel like there's something that is not being addressed in your particular career trajectory, that's on you and those like you to make that heard, known, and then fought for. The whole point of a union is that it is, in fact, the people, the workers, who are fighting for their workers' rights. It's not some random group of people that are hired out to then go and work for them. It's, in fact, the employees themselves who are fighting for their employee rights.
It's a partnership between the staff and members.
Great.
I mean, when you're talking, it reminds me of like why people get involved in government. They start locally. It's like, well, I don't like what's happening with the traffic on my street, so I'm going to get involved.
And as she says about the government, the union is run like the government. We're a democracy.
Yes.
We vote. We elect representatives. We vote. We have conventions. We have...
And there's legal restrictions.
Absolutely.
Which is why there's confidentiality
Yes,
and
all
some of
that
these other
stuff.
things that make it really frustrating, but also preserve our ability to negotiate and protect ourselves.
There
And
are
also-
labor laws, federal labor laws, state
Yes.
labor laws. All the different states have different labor
Yes,
laws.
exactly. And SAG-AFTRA is representing a group of people across all of those different labor laws and all sorts of different people. So we represent radio people. We represent news anchors. We represent the people at NPR. We represent stunts. We represent background. We represent dancers, choreographers, singers, voiceover, actors, principal actors. It is a large, massive group of people, and each one has their own little contracts depending on what particular niche you fall into. Correct.
And then you take that and you spread it across, it's a national contract.
Yes.
So you have people in large markets, LA and New York. And
Right.
you've got Chicago. Like how...
Just because I do commercials here and someone does commercials in Chicago, our needs are going to be different.
That's
just
correct.
based on the different markets.
I grew up in Alaska. We are represented by Seattle. So the
interesting.
17 union members in Alaska have to communicate with somebody
In Seattle.
about their needs. That's why the W&W process is so amazing because...
Pause.
Pause.
Okay, so she just said the W&W process. So let's start at the very beginning. So we renegotiate our contracts every 3 years. That's correct? Okay, so I want you guys to know every 3 years, we go in and we negotiate for ourselves. Now, what happened in the last contract is that a nice group of fresh-faced members, I would say, Katie included, myself included, really started getting involved in what's called the Ads Go Union campaign. And those were monthly meetings that happened, and some other more grassroots movements started popping up that were literally actors, commercial actors, getting involved, having conversations. We invited guest speakers, casting directors, producers of commercials, so that we could be informed on all sides. What are the needs on everybody's side, and then what are the needs of the actors, so we could start coming up with solutions and really creating a union that is malleable to the changing landscape.
Correct. So the Ads Go Union campaign has actually been running for 6 or 7 years now, but it really got into full force the last couple of years when we were able to hire more staff people.
That's right.
Because originally there just wasn't a lot of bandwidth for our staff. And we've just hired somebody new here in LA. We're expanding that staff a lot, the organizing as far as commercials go. Facebook groups came up. There's all these organized Facebook groups, like one for just women, one for just men, one for just voiceover.
Yes. Union Working, which
Union
is just
Working
another
started,
group.
Yes. They have almost monthly meetings.
Yes.
I
think monthly meetings.
Not quite, but every other or so.
So this is a really concerted grassroots effort, which you guys, we just love, because it's the people working the contracts, it's the people who are looking towards the future, getting involved and bringing our organization efforts as a group of actors into 2019 and saying, how can we be more effective? How can we get our needs met while also understanding and acknowledging the needs of the other side?
Correct. And our staff has been meeting like crazy with the other side. They have roundtables.
Now, when you say our staff, I'd like you to clarify that.
So we are the union.
Yes.
So our commercial staff at the union, our staff, has been meeting with industry
And is that
Round
different?
tables.
Can I pause?
Yes.
When you say our staff, are you talking commercial working actors? Or are you
No.
talking the
No.
staff that
Our
the
staff.
union has hired?
We're members.
Correct. Okay,
Right?
great.
And staff are the people that we pay
Right.
out of our dues. We pay
Yes.
them to work for us.
And I want you to know we've got some really wonderful staff people.
amazing.
They really have, over the last 3 years since I've been involved. I mean, right, Katie Wallack, they really have a lot of care, compassion, many of them veterans, some of them newer, bringing new, fresh perspective, and really coming in and hearing our needs and doing lots of research. What I have discovered over the last several years is, this commercial world, you guys start to understand as you start booking and, just in any business, you become friends and familiar with the other side. And that's just sort of what's happened is I feel colleagues, they're our colleagues, and we're hearing from them and their interest in also, they want work too. They want work here. They want union work.
That's what it feels like. They want to work with us.
They really
Yeah.
do. Yeah. And I would say, not despite what it feels like, I don't think it feels like they don't want to work with us. I actually have only gotten 100% feedback that they want union jobs, that they want to work with us, that they appreciate us, they value us. It makes their job easier. And so just a recognition that some communication could be beneficial. So over the last 3 years, that's been happening. And so just a couple of examples for you guys to know what that has looked like is we have been able to report non-union jobs. The union has been able to research that and hold actors and clients accountable.
And that's because of members volunteering to share that information.
That's right.
The staff, because of some labor law set, they can't put themselves on these sites like LA Casting and Casting Frontier. So they can't monitor it, but if we give them the information, so members volunteering.
So if you have any information at all,
Ads Go Union.
send it to adsgounion@sagaftra.org. Anything, whether it's a breakdown or your friend is shooting something
any of
or
that.
any of that
It's
stuff.
all helpful, whether you know it or not. And it's anonymous. It's 100% just to continue to map out a landscape. And I want to talk a bit about this thing you said about the labor laws. When you're hearing these things of like, well, gosh, that's an awful lot of hoops to jump through. I just want you to know, big business, multi-million-dollar corporations, they don't want us to win. It's in their best interest for us to continue to get paid less for more. And when that occurs, these labor laws and stuff happen so that we have to jump through a bunch of hoops. And that's what's so beautiful about a bunch of actors who've got time on their hands between auditions is they're like, nothing to do today? I say, hell hath no fury like a non-working actor. Right? So then another my way. Yeah, exactly. Another thing that has been really beautiful that you guys may or may not have seen, I just want you to know, is not because of some magical thing that's happened, but because of real concerted effort of actors who are passionate about being union, about commercial work in the United States happening on the union level in all the markets, big and small, is those ads that you've been seeing of our A-list actors, many of which are, spokesperson, campaign actors, lots of Oscar winners, Emmy winners. When you see any of those and they're talking about the union and the value of the union, if you watch the SAG Awards.
So I'm the national chair of the Commercial Performers Committee.
Yeah.
Katie is on that committee as well.
Right.
And we, for the last couple of years, have been trying to get action happening during the SAG Awards. We met with Kathy Connell.
It was, again, volunteering at the union, getting invited to a few events that the union hosts. Yeah. Ileana Kitchaven, who is the Los Angeles executive director, who I've met at a few of these things. You just show up, see who's there, invited me to deal with it. It's a women's conference.
Love it.
That SAG was a sponsor of. Katie ended up coming.
there, yeah.
We're sitting there with a bunch of women from the union, and I meet Kathy Connell, who is the head of the SAG Awards. That's what she
She's
does.
the producer.
She used to be a member. And I was like, oh, I'm part of the commercials and wanted to talk to her. And it was because of that. And then Katie came and we had a mini conversation. Then we met at a Starbucks.
Yes.
And then talked to her about what was going on with commercials. There were so many things, because the union is huge, like you said
Yeah,
before.
there's so many factions.
There's so many factions. There's so many subgroups that have their own needs. And when we had a chance to sit with her and talk to her about what was going on in the commercial world, she got it and she understood and made things happen.
Yeah, so they produced a video with J.K. Simmons that was actually shown during the commercial break to the celebrities in the room, because a lot of celebrities just aren't aware of what we're going through down in the trenches.
Because
and
they're agents and managers.
Yeah,
they get to a certain level.
They're
taking
isolated.
care of
It's not their fault.
No, I always say, like, they're, you know, in the beginning, there's a group of actors who don't care about the union because they sort of would like cut off an arm for a job, right?
Yeah.
And then once you get to a certain point, you have lawyers, you have heavy hitting reps, and they're really negotiating so far and above the line of the contract that your awareness of what's happening in the union just shrinks over time, because your lawyers are just, you know, they're negotiating so much greater than what the line of the contract is. This is basically my way of saying to you, the listeners, that I have two women in front of me, incredible women who have really put in, I can't tell you guys the hours that they have put in voluntarily to fight for you, And not just them, but a whole group of actors have been working tirelessly for the future of not just the commercial contract, but all of our contracts. And when I think about it, I just get like so emotional.
Well, you know what?
I'm starting to cry.
Don't cry. You guys are both criers. I'm a robot, you guys. So I will
cold
forge
inside.
ahead.
It's so hard.
But here's the thing, you guys. We're, you know, and you're doing it through your podcast as well.
I am.
I mean, you
but
really are providing a service
I
to
understand,
people.
but it's yes,
but the union stuff. Here's what I want to say.
Because she doesn't want to deal with feelings right now.
No, I'm a robot. Beep bop boop. Katie and I, you know, and so many other members. Look, on a slow week for me, it's 10 hours of my time.
Yeah.
On a long week for me, it's 40 hours of time.
Yeah.
During negotiations in WWs, it's more than that.
Yeah.
And
Are
but you know what? I've taken my turn. I'm taking my turn.
No, I understand.
And what I want is to realize that everyone should take a turn.
Right, I told you I will take my turn.
So when, but
It's
your
not yet.
listeners, your
Yes,
listeners
yeah.
need to know that this group of people who are giving up all their time doesn't mean that it's not going to be their turn sometime.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to take a turn.
Yes, and that's called service, you guys, being of service. And so many of you, you know, you talk about being politically and actively involved, and I just keep saying to you, this is like the most direct, fast, clearest path for you to be of immediate impact to not just our union, but to labor unions as a whole. And if you believe in fair pay, if you believe in protection, if you believe in workers' rights, this involvement is like the cleanest, clearest, fastest way for you to have an immediate impact on all of that.
The work happens in these committees, and
Yes,
you just have to
it does.
show up.
Okay.
You know, forget politics, forget political parties and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Just show up and volunteer in a committee. And one thing I love about your podcast is that you inform and educate and empower actors.
Yes, actors.
And members are often forgetting how much that they contribute
That's
to
right.
staff. Staff are not thinking in the way that members think. That's why it's important for us to be there to help them with that.
Let me just-
They're not in the rooms. They're
Well,
not on the
here's-
sets. They don't know what we do.
I always, you guys know, I always like compare this to a restaurant. Okay, so you guys are the servers and the hostesses, okay? The management, they don't know what your needs are and how they change. When you are involved, it's exactly that. It's you talking to staff, which are like your restaurant managers, and saying, "Hey, we don't have any glasses. We can't continually set the table the moment that they leave if in fact I have to spend 15 minutes looking for new glassware."
And the more you can take your emotion out of it and just deliver the facts,
Absolutely.
it just
So
it makes
great.
a huge difference because they don't know.
No,
Yeah.
they don't know. Right.
I love to tell people when they get up on the mic, there are a lot of people who sort of like, you know, we're actors. We get emotional.
we're very
we love
passionate.
to
We're passionate
pontificate.
people.
And I'll say, there's people I'll say, hey, I want you to say everything you're saying, but I want you to just say it matter of fact. Just take the emotion
Yeah,
out.
right. With a
Say,
smile on
say,
your face.
say it twice as fast
Yeah.
with a smile on your face.
know.
Just say
Good.
it. Just
Okay,
say
great.
it.
So let's talk about these meetings. So
Yes. Okay.
what happened is these sort of gatherings were happening
in October.
No, before that.
Oh, for
we
years.
were having these
Yeah,
gatherings
yeah.
together for years. And then what happened was the W&Ws commenced. So W&W stands for?
Wages and working conditions.
So wages and working conditions is where actors of all of the markets can have access to a meeting in their own market, and they can discuss the needs of that contract for themselves. So I'm going to list off so many of the markets. There are many more than what I'm going to list off, but we have LA, Chicago, New York, Atlanta, Miami, Portland, Seattle. I mean, it's everywhere,
Denver,
right? Denver, Austin,
Dallas. Yeah.
they're everywhere. So what's happening is each market is supposed to be heard. They're supposed to talk about their concerns and what's happening in their particular market. Now, Los Angeles, we have a majority of the commercials are shot here in Los Angeles in the United States.
Well, we also have the largest population of members here.
Correct.
So basically what happens is every local has meetings,
Okay.
right? But we have a larger group of people who need to meet.
Okay.
And we have a more
meetings.
diverse group of people here.
Yes.
Than others, because we have, more
members.
background, more members. So we have people from every type
Every
of work, as
sector.
we mentioned before.
Uh-huh.
So our meetings last for a month.
Great.
And they go on everywhere for a month. And other locals, New York's lasts that long, Chicago's lasts that long, and other locals, they can meet as long as they need to in that time frame.
So performers, performer leaders,
Yes.
and staff.
Great.
Staff are hired. They are not performers. They work at the union for us.
Right.
Performer leaders are people like Katie and I who are on committees.
Okay.
And then there's performers, which is everyone else.
Which is Audrey, right?
Right.
So Audrey comes to these meetings with lots of people. Now, what happened in the W&Ws for Los Angeles that I can speak of is that actors came into this board meeting. There were 2 board meeting rooms, and they were interchangeable, so you could hear and speak and be heard. And we would go through a list of concerns. This is a list of, things in our current contract, things that we anticipate for the future contract. And these meetings are not live streamed. They are not to be discussed at the Starbucks while you're waiting to get back into the meeting. They are 100% highly confidential. And I would like for you ladies to talk about why.
Well, a couple of reasons. First, we're brainstorming at that point.
What are we brainstorming?
We're trying to think of proposals we want to bring in our packet that we give to our bargaining partners. I want us to stop calling them the other side because they are literally our bargaining partners,
Yes.
particularly now for the first time ever.
Great. Love.
It's a different dynamic, and
Okay.
we can talk about that later. But we're basically trying to come up with proposals to bring to our packet, to negotiations, to the negotiating table for our negotiators to say, these are the things that we want and need.
So people come with the things that they want, and then they discuss the things that they're willing to give. We don't want the other side to know what we're willing to give.
Right.
Nor
Nor do we really want them to know what we really want, because that's also like a bargaining chip maybe not in our favor. If they know what we really, really, really want and they have something that they really, really want, then maybe they can take a bigger ask by giving us the thing that we know we really, really
So
want.
we give that strategy to our negotiators. So
Correct.
for clarification, we have staff members who are attorneys who are our lead negotiators. They are in the room with
Our bargaining partners.
members who are on the negotiating committee. We don't go in with, what do you want me to call them?
Our bargaining
Our
partners.
bargaining partners. We don't go in with our bargaining partners and say, this is what we really want. We leave that to the experts to do. We communicate with our experts,
Right.
the negotiators, what we want, and then they go in and deal with the strategy.
So
And
I'm
you'll
just
hear.
gonna,
Well, I just want to clarify something super
I'm going to
fast.
clarify too. Go ahead.
You'll hear a lot of people saying, well, staff, they're leery of staff going in there. I want to remind everybody, staff doesn't get to vote.
Okay, great.
yeah. And there's
Okay.
always a member in there.
But okay, so you're also still skipping ahead. So
Okay,
we're
sorry.
in this month-long process.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we're going to all these meetings, and we sort of go line by line. We talk about Class A residuals. We talk about wild spot residuals. We talk about internet. We talk about the difference between internet and new media. We talk about move over and then package it. We talk about
And
all
working
of
conditions
the,
like,
we do.
hair and makeup needs,
Yes.
parking,
Yes.
availability.
All
how they
those sorts of
communicate,
things.
all
Yeah,
those
yeah,
things.
how they communicate breakdowns.
And also a big thing that you guys have to know we talk about, which I just think always needs a spotlight of attention, is do not ever forget that the one way in which our workforce is completely distinctive from all other workforces is we have a ton of kids in our workforce. We have a huge child actor SAG-AFTRA membership, and their rights are absolutely 100% vitally important to us. And so we are taking those into consideration. Lots of actor parents are coming, and they're trying to get involved and make sure that their voices are heard. And this is why, if you're not going to these W&Ws, and if you didn't go to the SAG-AFTRA commercial ones, please start going to the theatrical ones and going and making your needs and concerns heard.
It's a huge education just to go in and listen.
Yeah.
So that's where I learned most of this.
Same.
9 years ago is when I first went to W&Ws, and I just sat and listened.
That's right. That's what I recommend is the first go-round, unless you're a Gabby girl like me, try to sit and absorb. And I was so, I knew I wasn't going to be going to New York with the other performers to be a part of the negotiations, but I knew that I was going to have conversations with whoever was negotiating when the time came as an informed, active member who sat in and watched all the concerns get brought to the table. I think I went to about 10 meetings. So I want you guys to know Audrey Moore, volunteered. They were about 4 hours each, right? 4 hours of my time times 10, okay? So I want you to ask yourself, have you put in 4 of your hours times 10 in a period of a month in order to be informed and fight for your other members and your contract? If the answer is no, I want you to consider whether or not you think that that is beneficial and in alignment with your own personal values. I also say, I don't need you to go to 10. I'm always telling you guys, I'm a crazy person. I don't need you to be crazy like me. I want you to go to 1, go to 3. I always left super empowered, super informed, and really, honestly, so fucking inspired. There is nothing like a group of people that are like, you feel like are your team, like your group.
This is our community.
Yeah, and you're like, tally ho!
Yeah,
we will
it's
get
really great.
ours.
It's really great. And also, like you were saying, the education is like, we should understand the contracts we're working under.
That's
if
right.
You're signing these contracts, and if you don't know what they mean,
Or how to get paid correctly.
Yeah, and also everyone has different skills.
Yeah.
I am not. How do I say this in a way that doesn't sound like I'm speaking poorly about myself? When it comes to being,
I know.
when it comes to being highly intelligent in a certain kind of way, not necessarily my greatest skill. I am, however, a really effective communicator, a really great translator. I bring a lot of energy and enthusiasm and humor into a room, and rooms need that. And sometimes people would get up and they would say stuff, and I would get up and I'd be like, hey, that sounded really smart. I don't know what you just said. I'm going to tell you what I think you said. If you could tell me if that was right or not, and then please explain further, that would be awesome. Because I know that there are a lot of actors like me who, once it starts getting to gobbledygoo, you're just like, blah, blah, beep, bop, bop. I don't understand. Terms.
A lot of the negotiating room.
Yeah, and this is what I'll say. So part of the W&Ws is everybody coming together and having all these things, right? But also part of it is figuring out who's going to be on this negotiating committee.
Right.
So based on participation, but also based on everybody's different strengths.
Yes, right.
Like somebody is really good at asking those questions.
Yeah.
Somebody's really good at clarification.
Yeah.
Somebody's really good at, well, how is this going to translate when we get out into the real world?
Correct.
How are we going to say this to members?
Right.
Somebody's really good with the data and the numbers. Everybody's got different skills. And so we want to make sure we're representative of all of our different kinds of members, all age ranges, all genders.
Correct.
All ethnicities. We want to be as representative as possible.
Yes.
That being said,
Yes.
Los Angeles has the largest market.
Right.
So we have the most members on the committee. The committee is weighted. The votes are weighted. So
For us.
Correctly. So we have the most votes, then New York, then the mids, then the smalls. There's 17 voting members.
I mean, you guys, California knows how to party. I don't know what to say.
California.
It's just the way it is. So I love all that.
I still love you.
I know
Oh,
it's
goodness.
true. Okay, got it. Goodness
How do
sake.
those
But part of showing up to those meetings is you saying to yourself, oh, crap.
It's all this.
It's this. And do I want to dedicate my time to go to New York, to leave my agents in the middle of pilot season, to go live in a hotel, to do this?
Right.
The answer is no, I don't want to. But I did it anyway because I'm taking my turn.
That's right. I always say that. I always tell people, like, go to a meeting. And I want you to know, if the meeting's at 7, 5 o'clock, it's going to roll around and you're like, gosh, I just feel like, you're going to create, it's like going to the gym. You're going to create every possible excuse of like why you could probably not. And I promise you, you will get there. Every single person I have had come and meet me, it's their first time, they always leave and they're like, oh my God, I'm so pumped. Yeah. I'm so excited. I'm so inspired. I'm so informed. You will leave so enlivened. It's just going to really warm your heart. And what I want to say also about that is that the members, meaning the performers, have gone through painstakingly every single thing, and they have left no stone unturned. Let me just say to you, several stones were turned several times.
So basically what happens is in the WNWs, we're looking for people to join the committee. We had pre-seated the initial 17 voting members several months in advance so that we could start doing some preliminary work.
Great.
So we were at this point just looking for alternates, but in many years,
talking, my agent is emailing
in
me.
many years, you would be seating the voting members as well.
This was unique because I think this negotiation, by all accounts, this negotiation was unique. There's an amazing negotiator. His name is John McGuire. He's been negotiating this contract for 50 years.
I know.
Yeah, and he's incredible. And he said that this was the most unique contract negotiation.
You can't be most unique. You can only be unique.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway.
Yes.
He said he called it a 1 in a million, right?
Yeah, basically 1 in a million. So, the preceded member thing, it's not always like that. I think it was just a circumstantial thing for this.
Okay, great. And then you created a group of alternates.
Right. So basically the committee gets set, right?
Okay.
With
how many people?
Voting members and alternates. 17 voting members and 16 alternates.
Okay, so these 17 voting members are all, just so you guys know, performers.
Performers.
And then these alternates are all performers. They're not magical elves, as Katie said in the beginning. They are people
you and me.
who have put in more time than Audrey did in her 4 hours a day times 10 days to really stay involved and stay informed. And just so you know, also, what's so cool about these meetings is that staff has done a lot of research, and it is so mind-blowing to find out all of the research. And there were so many times where I was like, holy shit, I don't think I'm smart, but I think I understood that. And that is some powerfully interesting data.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our economics team is incredible.
Incredible. So basically, we whittled that down. In Los Angeles, we did something a little different this year where our last week was closed. So you had to attend a certain number of meetings in order to attend our last week, where we whittled down everything we talked about that entire month into our core issues so that we could present proposals, vote on proposals that we would send to then the national plenary.
Now, I was one of those people who made it into the group, but really it's because I wanted the cool tote. You got like a SAG-AFTRRA tote bag, and I was like,
we bribe you a little bit.
It's a shorthand that everybody had gotten to over those 4 weeks. Where like, we had discussed that, we'd done that, we understand where the room feels,
and then a general game plan that represents the Los Angeles point of view.
Correct.
A couple of game plans had been created, and then that final week, that's what was discussed. These couple of game plans that we thought, okay, this is more or less what we feel like are some options to go in and negotiate. So then you land at this.
So we vote on those
right
as the Los Angeles membership.
For our own
plenary, our own little mini plenary. And then that goes to the national plenary where all of the other committee members from around the country fly in here and we meet.
Fly into New York.
No, Los Angeles.
Fly
to Los Angeles, and we meet with our staff and all the committee members, and we take all the proposals from all of the markets. Okay, and we go through them, and we whittle them down, and we vote on them as a national committee to decide what's going to be in our proposal package.
So we come with with the voice of Los Angeles, knowing that in a larger discussion with the national group, what is best served for the country.
For everybody. Right. And so you are now taking this full team proposal. So I just want you guys to know how many hours is being put in by performer members across the country for the benefit of the commercial contract, which they are hoping will be beneficial to all of us, knowing that actors make a lot of their money on commercials. And it is an important part of our payment financial landscape.
And the commercials contract does not exist in a bubble.
Right.
It influences all the other contracts.
Yeah, this is a big thing that I want you guys to understand. So when one contract sort of is soft, then it allows for the industry to see holes and opportunities to exploit the union in the next contract. So if something happens with the commercials contract and they can see a few holes for the theatrical contract, then when theatrical negotiations come around, then they'll take that as bait and begin to exploit that.
And conversely, if we set a precedent in one contract, we can build on that for parity across the board, which, the sexual harassment.
Yes. I mean, hallelujah, Katie.
Yeah.
Katie Wallack, hallelujah.
Well, we did a big one.
Yeah.
We did a big one this time.
We're going to get to it. Okay, great. So then these members, 16 and 17.
Well, 17 voting members.
17 voting members and 16 backups come in. And these 16 and 17, they are from all parts of the United States?
Yep, correct.
Great. And how many can you say?
We have 9 from Los Angeles.
Great. So 9 of the 17 voting members are from Los Angeles.
Correct.
Okay. So just so you guys know the landscape and transparency. And then you sit there for how many weeks?
6.
They sat there, volunteered their time, sat in New York, and listened to shit and spoke and listened and spoke
and thought, and then after we left, we would go have dinner and
speak some more.
Talking about it
of course, because it's our
in
futures.
code because we're out and about.
Yeah, exactly. And our ears are everywhere.
Well, in our hotel rooms, this hotel has really thin walls.
Oh yeah.
And has, oh my God!
Oh, it was on Madison Avenue. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's okay. We'd be in our room, be like, hey, so I was thinking about a contract. Like we're trying to keep our voices down.
I've done that before. Whenever I'm on location, I'm always like, would talk to Jesse like about my day on set in the bathroom, like huddled in the shower, just because I didn't know who could hear.
Our rooms were adjoining so that we could have like a larger room.
Yeah.
I could hear her cough.
Oh, God help me.
So,
God help me.
Yeah, so we didn't really, the confidentiality was like,
it was tough. It was tougher this year than other times, probably because of that.
You were negotiating for these 6 weeks, and I want you guys to know, my poor friends, they really aged a bit in these 6 weeks, you guys. Like, everyone really, you guys look like you've slept a little now, but it was,
I'm not quite back yet.
I showed up with whooping cough.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. And it really looked like, it looked like everyone really, when you see
like
your
the
friend.
end of a marathon.
Oh, I was going to compare it to like when you see your friends who've like just had their first baby and you see them like 3 weeks in and you're like, how you doing? And they're like, it's great.
Yeah.
And you're like, cool. Do you need anything? They're like, no, I just can't talk about it. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
So that's what they're going through. And I just want to continue to say, in service on everyone's behalf. It's so beautiful. So then we're going to talk about the contract.
Yeah.
Ready? Okay. So you guys, by the time you're hearing this, a statement will have been out and about. Do you want to check your email to see if she gave you anything? And I'm going to talk about what I know. Oh, great. Why don't you call her and we'll go through this. I'm going to talk about some of the highlights that I'm told based on the press release so far. So some of the key words that are being thrown about is introducing an innovative and flexible alternative compensation models to promote the growth of union-covered commercial work. So that's I think, going to be the biggest thing that people are going to want to know what the hell that means. I think I have an idea because I was in the W&Ws, but I'd like for you to go ahead and discuss what we landed on.
Some of the pain points was that with a non-union job, it's simple and predictable. Like you pay this flat amount and you go away for a year or whatnot.
Great. Now, so I want to translate that to listeners. A point that I thought was really important from the perspective of the advertiser is that they would come to a company, a producing company, and they'd say, I want to make a commercial for what we're called Unicorns Incorporated.
Okay.
Unicorns Incorporated would say, how much will it cost me
Yes.
to make a commercial? And then the production company would say, well, if we did a SAG commercial, it could be anywhere from, this is just a random number, $10,000 to $10 million.
Yeah.
And they would be like, well, which one is it? And they're like,
Right.
well, it depends on what happens in the commercial and and the market and how it runs. And then we have this crazy model where blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And so what we were hearing from the advertisers and from the companies was that it was too convoluted and complex of a model for them to be able to sell to their clients.
Right.
Because it was like, if you were going to ask somebody how much to remodel my house, and somebody was like, well, to remodel this house, $10,000 or $10 million, I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
You would be like, I think I'm not going to go with you.
Too many variables.
Too many variables.
Because of the media buy.
Right.
That's a big part of it. So it's not just the talent cost, but we get paid based on how they're going to use the commercial.
Right.
And oftentimes the people who are doing the pre-production, for lack of a better word to just encompass that whole process, they don't know post where this is going to go and where it's going to run.
Right. So they don't know whether it's going to just run on the internet, just run on Facebook, just run on network television, just run on cable.
Wild spot.
Okay,
And
great.
I think it's important to know that our contract was built, it's been around 60 years.
Okay, great.
And it has evolved from when there were only 3 channels. So each time some new technology came around, a 4th channel, this wild thing called cable, it was new, and we built fences and evolved as the technology evolved. And here we are, like, you just wake up and we've got this 3-inch contract with a bunch of legal language that has to be in there to protect us, but isn't super user friendly. So, and everyone with the ADD and all the different platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, not to mention all the different cable channels, it's too hard.
Yeah.
And how quickly things have to move now, people just need a line item.
Right.
Okay.
And the other thing that's happened is technology has made making commercials cheaper. So where they used to shoot 1, they now shoot 6.
Right.
Yes.
So they maybe know their media buy for the whole campaign, but they don't know which ones are going to fit which slots while they're shooting them.
Yeah, or if they're going to air them at all.
Or if they're going to air them at all, because they can afford to shoot so many now.
So the takeaway is that we built something that suited our needs, and then you wake up and it's complicated.
Right.
So
it's like any relationship. You're like, I've been sleeping with them. It was really great. But you know what? I
Now we
kind
have
of
to pay
want to
bills
live
together.
somewhere else.
Yeah.
And
now snoring is a problem.
yeah, exactly. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to go through a hypothetical booking, and let's talk about now the options that will happen based on the new contract. Okay?
So basically, you will know before you shoot which of our payment models you will be paid under.
So that means there must be more than one payment model.
Correct.
Oh my
Correct,
God. Okay,
Audrey.
great.
So
we have the traditional contract.
right, which still exists. Some people don't like change, and they say, I know that I don't want to change this. I know how this works. This works for me.
And advertisers.
Particularly those advertisers that that really know what their media buy is going to be, and really, 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 really only want to pay for what they use.
Okay, great.
Okay, a lot of people don't want to pay for something they don't or can't use.
Okay,
Think about it. A lot of companies aren't national.
Right, that's
So
right.
they're never going to buy Class A
Right.
because they're not a national company.
So ladies, I hear that we have alternative payment options.
Yes.
We are still going to allow advertisers and clients to use the original contract.
Right.
So that is still an available option to them.
Correct.
In addition to, we have what?
We have new alternate compensation packages.
Great. And so an alternate compensation package is something that these clients can use and choose instead of the traditional model, which I want to reiterate is still available to us. Great. So let's go through alternative payment package 1. What does that mean?
So the first one is Upfront Plus.
Okay.
This is the big one.
Okay.
This is where you get $20,000
Okay.
upfront plus your session fee
Mm-hmm.
and a 1-year maximum period of use.
Okay, great.
Advertisers can use this on every media platform, and they get 10 Class A uses
Total.
total.
Included in this package.
in the 20
However,
Yes, however,
if they want to use more Class A,
They
they
can.
can buy additional uses at $100 per use.
okay, great. So that $100 goes to the actor.
It goes on top of that 20 grand.
Okay, great.
So that 20 grand is, they can't pay you less than that if that's the model they're using. If they go for the Upfront Plus, you're getting 20 grand
plus your session.
plus your session fees. Session fees are no longer credited
Okay.
in this alternate payment package
Okay.
model.
So you would get, so if you worked 8 days, you would get a payment for your 8 days under this plan. You would also get $20,000 for a 1-year all-encompassing usage fee. And if they wanted to do more Class A's, they could, but it would be $100 add-on per usage in
Per
Class
run.
A.
Correct.
Great.
Yeah. So just so you know, like all encompassing, Class A is a little bit carved out, but they get 10 Class A uses. And then after that, it's $100 every time they use it.
Yeah,
Great.
and the reason being, again, people don't want to pay for what they don't use.
Correct.
So it's like, oh, why don't we charge them bazillion dollars and include all the Class A? Because that's not effective for most
Right.
advertisers.
Yes, that's right.
And so you want something that people can use. But this is a set it and forget it payment
Yeah.
model. They're like, you know what? We don't know what we're going to do with it. We don't have to care. We're just going to pay this money and we'll worry about it later.
But wait, Katie and Katie, wait. I have to interrupt you.
Help me. I need some help.
And now it's time for listener questions.
I'm so scared.
Hello, this is Katie Von Till. I wanted to know, does an actor get paid the upfront payment of these upfront payment options at the time of booking the commercial? Again, this is Katie Von Till, and I'm calling from my car in Encino, I think.
Katie, thanks so much for calling and asking this question. I told Katie to call and ask this question because it was a question that I had, and I want to be clear about this upfront payment. So just like a normal commercial that you've always booked, you're going to book the commercial, then you're going to shoot it, and then upon shooting it, the agency has 13 weeks to decide if they're going to air it, if you're going to be in it. And at that time, that's when the upfront payment will be due, is by the 13-week period. Now, they may go ahead and decide that they're going to air it before then, in which case, when they start airing it, that's when they owe you the upfront payment. But just like any commercial, that's always been the way, you get paid first for shooting, and then you're going to chill out, and you're going to wait to see if it airs. Once it airs, that's when you're going to get one of these upfront payment plans. If, in fact, this ad agency and the client decide that they're going to choose one of these upfront payment plans as a means whereby to pay the actors, okay? And I also want to point out something really exciting that Katie Wallack had mentioned with this Upfront Plus plan, which is the one wherein you get 20 grand upfront. Just booking one of those, and you're qualifying for Plan 2 health insurance. So that's really exciting, you guys. Just one, and you know automatically you're going to make your Plan 2, which is really great. Instead of it airing, and then you have to wait and see, and then hope, oh my God, and then maybe it's going to be in a different year cycle, and your payments are all sort of scattered between one payment cycle and another cycle. You're going to get all of that upfront, and you'll know that you qualify for your Plan 2 SAG Health, which I think is fantissimo.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Great. Now, I have a question
Yes.
for those of us who've done multiple double scale commercials. How is that affected in this alternative process?
So after 1 year,
Okay.
your agents can negotiate, and that's when you would negotiate double scale or what
We're talking about two separate things. So
Yeah.
we're getting to the MPU sooner. So in a
Okay.
year, you have a chance to renegotiate. It
Okay,
used to be
great.
21 months.
Great.
But also, it's still, if they're getting multiple areas of exclusivity, they will be above scale.
Good. So I wanted to just clarify that for the listeners. Okay.
Yes.
So what I just asked was, I, Audrey, have done commercials where I have been had a conflict of more than one area. So let's say it was internet and also mobile, which is a really common one. Okay. So in the past, I've basically booked 2 commercials in one because they are holding me as a conflict
In 2 areas.
Okay, I want to stop you really quickly.
Great.
As of now, they could, in our current contract, get you for up to 3 additional contracts for 1.5 of scale, 150% of scale.
Okay,
you may be getting double scale because that's what your agent negotiated or what they offered, but they're not actually obligated to pay you that.
I see.
They're
So the bottom line is 1.5.
No. So basically, as of now, the original traditional contract, at 150% of scale, they can have 3 additional conflicts.
I see.
In this new version, we step up to that.
Oh, great.
So just so that's because $20,000 up front is a lot.
Right.
And so we want this to be usable. We can't have just crazy sticker shock by having these crazy amounts. So for the first non-competitive product after the original that they hold, you get an additional 25%.
Okay, great.
Then after that, the next one, 15%.
Okay.
And then 10%. So that brings us up to where we are in the traditional contract.
Okay, great.
3 for 150.
So it sounds like if I were to do a company that has an offer of a cellular service that they offer and an internet service that they separately offer, that I would get the first one for the $20,000 and then I would get an increase for the second one of
25% of that.
And that would be 25% of $20,000?
Correct.
Fantastic. $25,000
Yes.
upfront payment fee for 1 year. And at the end of that 1 year, you get to renegotiate with your agents as opposed to the 21 months previous where you had to wait and only receive a check for like $400 or something for your holding fees.
And, many of us are able to get those double scales for those renegotiations on a regular scale project. Then the next, and you're able to get these higher upfront payments and so forth. So you're going to get to that a lot sooner.
Well, here's what I want to say.
And there's one other big win on that same front.
Okay,
you want
great.
to take it, Katie?
Go for it.
Okay.
So it used to be that our agents had a window of time
Yes.
where they had to send a renegotiation letter
By mail.
certified mail to the advertising agency saying, do you want to renegotiate this?
We don't have to do that anymore.
Bing
Oh,
bong.
thank God.
Users want to use it, they come to you.
Oh,
the
great.
maximum period of use is over, then they come to you. So that's a huge thing for agents.
Here's-
Your agents
here's-
are going to love that.
If
Yeah.
I just want to clarify on that for those of you who are listening who maybe feel already a little bit in the weeds. So what that means is in the past, it's been a real pain in the ass in the agents. And I want you to know your agents were invited to their own W&W sessions to come and talk about their gripes, their concerns, their hopes for the future. And one of the biggest gripes that they had was this fucking letter. Like it's 1982. They got to send this damn letter because if they didn't send this letter and you had a commercial for Unicorn Insurance, then Unicorn Insurance could go ahead and redo automatically your commercial and you would miss the negotiation window.
And you just get scale,
And
or
you
the
just
rate,
get
whatever the rate was
scale.
before.
And the whole purpose of a renegotiation period is to renegotiate higher scale for you because you have proved that your spot
It's successful.
is successful and you are of great value.
Yes.
And it's going to be much cheaper for them to just run your already successful spot than it is to hire a whole new group of people and a whole new crew and a whole new all of it and cast a whole new thing for a brand new spot. So there is negotiation power on the part of the agent representing you, the talent. And now we are doing away with the letter. Now, if they want you, they've got to come get you.
And they can get you sooner at a
great.
year.
That's right.
Okay, and here's what I also want to say about this alternative package one is I want you guys to know I came in here with I promise you an open mind to hear and to be for or against it. And having been a person who's worked the commercial contracts for a long time, that is a very, very good package. So let's go to the next one.
So the second one is called Upfront Flex.
Okay, great.
So with the Upfront Flex,
Well, you just kind of nailed it.
Okay.
Some things never ever reach $20,000.
No, they don't.
Right? So
Right.
those people that are currently paying $8,000 for a spot, $10,000 for a spot, they're not going to pay
The
$20,000.
Right. And we want to keep them enticed, and we want to
Yeah.
keep them excited about it,
Right.
and have them have the options for the union contract.
And these are people who also maybe they don't know what their media buy is yet. So this is an $8,000 guarantee to the member plus your session fee.
Okay.
And again, 1 year MPU. So members get this $8,000.
Okay.
And then the usage, whether it's on broadcast, cable, local cable, dealer spot, blah, 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 is then credited against that $8,000.
So think of it like a guarantee, the way we currently think of those now.
So you get $8,000, and then they decide, like, 2 months after they run the commercial, okay, it's going to run on cable for 13 weeks. The cost of that is $3,400.
Okay.
So $3,400, they've already paid you that $8,000, so now it's $8,000 minus $3,400. You know what? We're going to actually run it on internet now for 13 weeks. That's $1,300. But you get the numbers then credit against that use. They might run it on Class A. So $100 per Class A run. We're going to run it 10 times. That's $1,000. So they do that until that $8,000 is exhausted.
Okay.
And then if they want to run it more, then they pay you more. Now,
see.
what's really important to know is if they don't end up using all of that $8,000, the member still keeps that $8,000.
Okay. Now the members, just for clarification, are going to get paid that $8,000.
Correct.
Upfront.
Upfront.
That's why it's called an upfront flex. Okay. And then what happens is, per our general terms of what each usage costs, it's sort of like they're giving you $8,000 in like a.
It's like a trade.
Like
they get the $8,000, and in return,
security deposit.
yes,
Right,
it's
that's what I was
security
gonna say. It
But
sounds
in,
like a security deposit.
in saying like, hey, you're going to give me this $8,000 payment, then I'm going to give you some of these other things at a little bit of a discount, knowing that you're going to give me this big chunk of change, and I am guaranteed this.
We
And
won't waste your
then-
time with all the numbers of that.
That's
It's better
fine.
on a chart.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's basically 13-week cycles, so very
Okay.
similar to what we have now.
Okay. The $8,000 is solely for a 13-week cycle?
No.
$8,000 is for a year.
Okay.
And then each payment use, whatever their media buy is, that's 13 weeks. So let's say they want to do cable only for the year. So that would be $3,400 for one 13-week cycle, $3,400 for another week cycle.
They're still under the $8,000 there.
$8,000. And then by the time they get to the third 13-week cycle,
Right.
$3,400, they've exhausted.
They're $8,000.
And
So
then
they have to pay you.
They have to pay you more.
Okay, great. I think that's clear. I like that. So I'm just going to translate that to you guys
Yes.
so you
Yeah.
understand. Okay, so the upfront flex means that I'm going to book this commercial for Unicorn Insurance, and they want to do the upfront flex. So I'm automatically going to get an upfront payment of $8,000
Plus your session fee.
plus my session fee, a good note, okay? Because sometimes you end up shooting 5 or 6 days. You're going to get your upfront $8,000 plus your session fee. Now, here's a question I have. What if they end up shooting multiple spots within those 8 days? Is it because currently
Per spot.
per spot. Okay, so here's what I want you guys to understand. So you show up to set and you think you're doing one commercial, and this happens all the time. And instead, you're going to be shooting 3 spots. Surprise for you. You get paid your session fee for 3 different spots. Is that correct?
Yes, if they are actually different spots.
If they're actually different spots, you get paid your session fee for 3 different spots. And then on top of which, you would get your upfront flex of $8,000 times 3.
Correct.
Okay. They just gave me a fucking creepy ass correct in unison. It was so good.
2 Katies.
Saying the same thing.
Okay. So that's what's going on. So that's
Yes.
upfront flex. Now what's the next one?
The next one is upfront digital and OTT package.
So this does not include Class A.
This is all internet, digital,
Only.
only.
Okay, so how much does the upfront digital and OTT pay me upfront, and do I get a separate session
You
fee?
get your session fee.
Plus $3,825.
Okay, great. And the current model for just running for 1 year on the internet is how
And the
much?
traditional contract?
It's like 28 and change.
Yeah.
For made for, no, it's 25 and change.
Yeah.
But again, we just got a 6% raise overall. So that
So
number
it's
is going to be
great.
6% higher than that.
Here you understand some of the confusion.
Yeah.
Again,
No,
the
but this is
takeaway.
good because
Yeah.
to me, that seems like a raise for us, which is great.
It's a huge raise. In my opinion, it is
Yeah.
because in the traditional contract, we had internet payments and we had our new media payments. This has combined those two.
Okay, great.
And it's if you combine those two in the traditional contract, we often didn't get paid for both of those.
Okay.
Very
So
rarely.
again, because this is an upfront, it's a little bit less, but compared to what most of us got paid
For those.
just internet, this is an increase.
Yeah,
That's what I
and
would
because
agree.
the session is not credited,
Yes.
you get that extra money
That's a big deal.
$825
on top
of
of your session fee.
$112.
It used to be
Now-
that session fee was credited against, and that payment would
I
be
didn't realize
minus
that.
your session amount.
Okay, so I'm going to recap these three and then we'll talk about the other wins of the contract. Okay. So, Unicorn Insurance, they can still do the OG model because they're like, we know what we're doing and we like the old way. Great. Unicorn Insurance, go to. Or we have the first option, which is called
Upfront Plus.
Upfront Plus. So Unicorn Insurance can go for Upfront Plus, which is a $20,000 upfront fee that is paid to the actor. In addition to, they get their session fee,
Which is $712.
$712 a day for shooting. And
Per
that
spot.
includes per spot, and that includes 10 Class A options.
Correct.
And
Airings.
great, thank you. 10 Class A airings. And then after those 10 are done, they have the option to continue airing, if they wish, Class A at $100 an airing. Nailed
Yep.
it. That lasts for 1 year. And upon the end of that 1 year, not your agent, but the client is responsible for reaching out and asking for an extension and a renegotiation of said commercial.
Nailed
Boom,
it!
you're welcome.
Nailed
Okay.
it!
Oh my God, I'm so
She's so
cool.
smart, you guys. Yay, Audrey. She is the smartest.
Okay, then we've got Upfront Flex. So Upfront Flex is basically an $8,000 security deposit upon your talent, okay? So you will get paid $8,000 upfront for Upfront Flex plus your session fee. And then the advertiser has the option to spend that $8,000 as they see fit. Now, once they run out and exceed that $8,000, whether that's through Class A or through cable within the 1 year period, they then have to pay you the additional. So they're sort of gambling that they're going to get the deal, and you're gambling they're going to use it more. And sometimes we'll see who wins, right?
Great.
When I ran my own numbers,
Yes.
sometimes I get paid more, sometimes I get paid less.
That's correct.
And it pretty much comes out in the aggregate.
That's
And
right.
It's basically it's as we're trying to get as close to revenue neutral as
It's
possible.
almost like you guys spent tons and tons of hours running numbers against other numbers or runs past numbers and future numbers to come up with
Yes.
the most viable number that would make the most sense for the most amount of people. You're welcome, everybody.
And
okay.
I would encourage everyone to do their own.
Yeah,
if
do
you've
your
got
own.
spots, grab your stubs, run them against these
Katie,
models.
they're not going to
And
do
yeah,
it.
if
they
Katie,
might.
no, Katie,
They'll
nobody's,
think about it.
nobody is Katie
No,
Von Til. No
no.
one's going to do it. Okay.
The win-win is that both performers and employers have a number.
Yes, that's right. The next one is the upfront digital and OTT package. So this one covers the internet and internet-like stuff, right? So web, Facebook, anything like that.
And OTT,
And OTT, which
And
is
over-the-top advertising.
That would be like your Hulus.
I see.
And streaming type things.
streaming
like,
that has commercials as opposed to the
Correct.
Netflix that doesn't have commercials. Okay, and
For
that is going to be a upfront payment of
$3,825
okay,
plus your session fee.
plus your session fee, and that is over a period of
1 year.
great.
And like our current digital only stuff, there's no exclusivity,
Great.
right? There's no conflicts.
Okay.
So, but say for some reason they want to move it to television and therefore give you a conflict, they've got to reach out to you, get your permission, because you could have you could have
Correct.
since booked something that would have a conflict since then. So they have to reach out to the performer to get permission if they want to move it.
Insurance running on
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah, and Unicorn and Fairy,
but you booked that
companies.
ferry after Unicorn. You couldn't have done it
right.
in the other order.
Okay, now if they want to take your upfront digital and OTT package and they suddenly want to do Class A airings, what happens, Katie and Katie?
They have to contact you first to see if you have a conflict.
Great.
And ask your permission to move it to television.
So let me just make that clear. So for those of you who book a job under the upfront digital and OTT package, you are working on the internet and digital media arena. You are getting paid $3,825 for a 1-year use without conflicts, which means you can go ahead and do spots for competing companies. And if they decide they want to change that on you and suddenly you see your spot for Unicorn Insurance airing during NCIS on television, then that is cause for alarm. Take a snapshot, send that to your agents, and go get your money, honey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But hopefully though they'll know that they're going to do this, and they're going to.
I'm sure.
And there's a lot of education for everyone. Members, our employers, and agents. And so this is what. So thank you so much for doing this.
I want to talk about these packages super quick. Just saying that this was done with input from.
Oh, I know it was.
Our bargaining partners as well. Like they want this, we want this.
Oh,
like they think this is something that they can use, and the JPC thinks this is something that will entice more people to sign our contract.
Yeah, I agree because I am friends, as you ladies are as well, with people who are our bargaining partners, and they want to be here. They want to be working our contract. What you guys aren't realizing when you're talking about non-union, it's actually not like just non-union. It's actually production flight. And so our directors, our producers, our ad agencies, they're having to go to all kinds of crazy countries and be away from their families, be away from their life and their livelihood in order to keep working in the industry. And they have communicated to us that they would like a good, sound resolution where both parties can benefit because they too want to stay in the United States. They want to shoot in their local market. They want to stay next to their families, come home for dinner, and work with SAG-AFTRA actors. It makes everyone's job easier.
It's really a win.
It is.
There's so much win-win in this negotiation, which again makes it really unique.
And with all the different alternate compensation models and the traditional, there's something for
everyone. I just love something for everyone. Okay, so now we only have 15 more minutes, so I want to quickly discuss the other points that are really big. So let's talk about the sexual harassment thing.
Really quick also, I just want to say the renegotiation letters are for all the payment models, including the original contract.
Right. Okay, great. Yes.
Okay, great.
So what's going to happen is we are going to vote on all of this. Votes are due
May 8th? Is that right?
I think they're May 8th. I'll send a thing out for you guys, okay? But votes will be due. And here's the thing. I need you to vote, and I need you to vote yes.
Oh, it would be so incredible if we had the largest turnout of votes on this contract because it's new.
So here's what I want you to do. Wait, shush. I'm going to talk to my listeners. Okay, I want you to, wherever you are, I want you to say out loud to yourself. You can raise your right hand if you like. You guys can pretend to be the listeners, okay? I promise.
I promise.
By Audrey Helps Actors.
By Audrey Helps Actors.
And all of the love and work that she has done for my knowledge.
And all the love and work that she has done for my knowledge.
That I will fill out that ballot.
That I will fill out that ballot.
I will vote yes on this contract.
I will vote yes on this contract.
Because my performer members.
Because my performer members.
Have worked tirelessly.
With
love and passion. With their negotiating partners.
To
create a fan-fucking-tastic. Progressive. Future-seeking. Incredible contract. With my best interest at heart.
With my best interest at heart.
I keep thinking
that's good. Yeah, but it's ours.
That's our pledge.
It's
ours.
Okay, good.
Actually, with ours.
It is. With
not
our
even
best
with
interest at
ours.
heart.
We are a collective.
Okay, good.
We are a
Okay,
union.
great. So let's talk these other points. Go for it.
So we had put this in an order.
Okay, so overall rate increases for 6%.
Great.
So
Love
that the old people that are using the traditional contract, all that stuff up it by 6.
Great.
Yeah.
Love it.
This is a new 3-year contract.
This contract starts April 1st, 2019. So anything that has been shot before we vote retroactively in the traditional contract will adhere to these rates, which means 6% increase, renegotiation letters, ongoing. The alternate payment packages, that will start June 1st.
Great.
The reason being, we need to educate people.
Yeah,
Not just the members, but the
other
advertisers
side
need
is-
to.
Yeah, exactly. Our negotiating partners.
Okay, so we already talked about renegotiation letters, which is
Great.
awesome.
Now let's talk about sexual harassment. That's a big
So
win.
the same policies that were put into the theatrical contract of sexual harassment and discrimination have also been included into this contract.
Fantastic.
Again, parodies. We talked about earlier, setting a precedent in one can set a precedent in others.
And the same thing about no auditions in hotels and all that stuff. All that stuff that we've heard that we really got in the theatrical is here now.
Great. Anything else?
Okay. We've covered for those dancer listeners, we've got a better group rate. The group rate is now paid at 3+ instead of 3 and 5 and 6+. So less dancers, more money.
Great.
And then for singer contractors, now contractors for singers, like if you're going to have a children's choir or something like that, your contractor is not going to necessarily be a child, right? Your contractor who would normally be singing and be part of the group can suddenly not sing in that children's choir when they would normally sing in one with an adult. So they would lose their coverage. So this is basically saying the contractor can be a different gender or a different age range than the actual group, but still receive coverage.
Wonderful.
So something future, moving on from that, something future thinking is OTT, which is a whole new ball of wax.
Which is Hulu's, all those sorts of things,
it's over the top
It's
advertising.
Netflix.
It's things that are coming. So while that's still unfolding, what we have done is that we have added the OTT language to internet. That's why the made for digital and OTT, so that we have set a precedent of coverage of acknowledging this newly emerging area that we will need to be paid. And by setting that precedent, as it evolves, we already have bargaining history to clarify and get paid more and more.
Excellent. And it seems to me like we have already increased the OTT payment from our last contract. Is that correct?
It's included in internet and has been.
Yeah.
But the idea of naming it and saying, hey, we might need to silo this off down the road.
It's becoming its own thing.
Right, because the future is likely that now with Disney announcing their streaming service, as Warner Brothers is about to announce their streaming services, everyone's going streaming. Commercials are going to continue to be a viable part of that because they like to get money wherever they can, not just from the subscribers, but from anyone who will give them money. Yeah. And it is important that we keep an eye on that new pocket of advertising. Yeah. Great.
And so we don't get into the weeds on all of these things. Like there is so much more education on each of these things that we're flying through, including the models.
Yes.
But I don't want to lose people in the details. Yeah. So,
this is a podcast. So what I do want to say is that there are several meetings across the country. You're going to go onto that incredible SAG-AFTRA app that I know that you have downloaded because it's magic and it's going to tell you when your residuals are coming. And I want you to go find your meetings. So the Los Angeles meetings are...
next Wednesday, 6 to 8 at the Universal Sheraton.
Okay, say it again.
So it is Wednesday the 24th.
Okay, I need you to talk into the mic and not into your phone.
I'm looking at my phone. It's Wednesday the 24th from 6 to 8 at the Universal Sheraton. Parking will be validated. Come on in.
So that's going to be the Wednesday after this airs. So you're going to listen to this podcast. You're going to have all kinds of crazy questions. I need you to go to the Sheraton and I need you to sit down and I need you to listen. And if you have questions, ask them. I promise that I'm going to be there so you can come and say hi to me, meet me. I would love to see you. I've been so happy to see all of you coming to all these meetings to come and hang out. If I'm not there, it's because I have a serious regular audition. That's my promise to you.
And I'm working with Union Working to do a presentation with them too. So all these groups, we all talk to each other. So Audrey, I'm sure you'll post.
But this will be your opportunity to talk to staff. Chicago is the 23rd. We are the 24th, and New York is the 25th.
I believe there's a streaming one.
All of the other locals have a webinar on the 25th.
Great. Raise your hands.
Yes.
I promise.
I promise.
as a listener and lover of Audrey Helps Actors.
As a listener and lover of Audrey Helps Actors.
Because Audrey has gone ahead and put in so much time for my education.
Because Audrey has gone ahead and put in so much time for my education.
Yeah.
I will meet her
I will meet her
at that level of commitment.
at that level of commitment.
I will attend one of these meetings.
I will attend one of these meetings.
I will watch it on one of these webinars.
I will watch it on one of these webinars.
I will make an informed decision.
I will make an informed decision.
I will vote.
I will vote. I just want to say, the webinars is not for those of you who can attend a meeting in person.
Right.
Don't be taking up the bandwidth. You're not allowed. You're not allowed.
You're kicked off.
You got to show up.
Yeah.
You got to show up.
Come ask questions. We'll be there.
Yeah. I mean, really, I have to say, the meetings are really great.
Yeah.
It's inspiring to
It
get
is
together with
inspiring.
people. We're so isolated.
Yeah. And, it's also fun because some people get like weirdly heated and you're like, I need you to take a little Zanny. It's really fun.
Leave the drama for the stage,
leave
please.
because that's the thing about actors. They're like,
I just want to talk really quickly about one big win
Please.
that we got.
I love it.
Which is huge.
Okay, I'm ready.
We got coverage of stunt coordinators.
Yes.
Oh,
This is
thank
huge.
God.
This is huge.
That is
Now,
huge.
Yeah, and this is
Unbelievable.
unbelievable.
win
I
on
love
both
that.
sides.
And here's why it's a win for them and a win for us.
Okay, great.
In order for a commercial that's going to have stunts on it to get insurance from a company to insure the shoot, they have to have a stunt coordinator
Yeah.
from the union.
from the union.
Oh, yes.
So a stunt coordinator couldn't work a job that were non-union
that's
if
right.
they are covered.
Yes, that's great. That's
And
great.
that stunt community, I mean, they have.
They brought this.
Self-police,
Yeah.
they've brought it, and they have committed to not working non-union jobs. And now that the stunt coordinators are covered, they've got a stronger voice and can turn those jobs.
Yeah.
Can I say why I think that is so important? What you guys don't know what's happened in the stunt community, and I encourage you to listen to the SAG-AFTRA podcast where they talk to the stunt community, is that production blew up. And with the blow up of production became the blow up of the need for stunts. And so suddenly stunt actors and stunt coordinators like grew and expanded. And the community has been really impacted by that. There have been accidents, there have been real tragedies. And it is really important as actors, as a union, as performers to stand by each other and really support each other. Safety first, safety first, safety first, safety first. And I know it makes me
starting to
emotional
cry
too.
again.
I know it makes me very emotional because it's not just our livelihood, it's quite literally their lives. And we owe it to them to put their safety first. So that's a huge win.
Because they put our safety first.
I mean, you guys are like, Katie,
Katie and Katie, adjoining rooms.
Okay.
We left the door open too much.
We have to finish.
Yeah, and honestly, we've covered a lot of stuff here. Show
There's
up
so
to the
much
meetings,
more.
but we covered the biggest wins,
Yeah.
the biggest packages,
That's what I want people to know.
and those are the things that are the most important.
And if you have questions, like reach out.
From now on, when you're on Facebook, when you're anywhere you are on social media, when you're in an audition, and anybody that you hear is talking anything about the commercial contract that's happening, I want you to go ahead and say, oh, interesting point of view. Have you read the commercial contract? Have you gone to a meeting? Did you listen to the most recent episode of Audrey Helps Actors? Oh, you should listen to it. Here, let me text you a link right now while I'm sitting with you. Let me post it online so that you can hear it, because we owe it to each other to be informed and to inform each other. And the movement I am making here is a movement of informed, responsible actors, full of information, transparency, camaraderie over competition. So if somebody is going around and has a little bit misinformation, don't get emotional about it. Just help them find and understand the actual information. And it's because there is a huge movement of union busting that is happening in this country.
Yeah.
And you just have to inform people that they need to be aware of whether or not they're taking part in the union busting movement or they are taking part in the union building movement. And if they have not attended meetings, if they have not read the contracts, if they have not listened to this episode, they are making uninformed assumptions about the contract. Katie.
Union bashing
Yeah.
is union busting.
Thank you. I mean, for real.
Don't talk crap. If you want to talk crap, come to one of the
come to the
ASGO union meetings.
Yeah.
Get it out. Bitch at me.
But keep it in house.
Yeah.
Keep it in house.
That's right.
Yeah, because here's the truth, you guys. I'm gonna get emotional again, but like I think about our union like every day, and I can't even listen to the podcast without crying because I'm just like, it's just like so emotional to me when I think of people who are the underdogs fighting for themselves. And I know about the history of unions, and I really believe in all of us as actors, and I believe we are valuable.
Yeah.
I believe we deserve to be paid correctly. We deserve to be treated well. We deserve to be safe. And that is what our union is here to do. And it makes me so passionate about all of the time and service that you ladies have put into it. So
thank you.
Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
All right, ladies, thanks. Ready?
Yay.
We didn't do our interesting thing. We came with
We came with mildly interesting.
Hold on, I want to do it just me. Next week on Audrey Helps Actors, we are talking to Patrick Fabian. He is a series regular on Better Call Saul and has a trajectory on this career that is decades long. And I love being on set with Patrick. He is one of the most generous, kindest, talented, authentic people I have met. He is so wonderful on set. He's so wonderful off set, extremely involved in union. He is an actor parent. He is in a relationship with another person who is in the biz. So we have so much to discuss. And my real intention in having him on was talking to somebody that is a phase 4 actor, somebody who has been working for years and years and years and has a long-term perspective on being a working actor. I thought that was a perspective that we haven't really had yet, and one that I thought was really important for all of us. And just selfishly, I wanted to know what's the scoop. So it's a wonderful episode. If you want a long-term career in this industry, this is the episode for you. Thanks again to Katie and Katie. Now listen to me. Listen. You are not going to email me your questions. You are not going to email me a single SAG commercial contract question. You're not going to do it. You are not going to leave a voicemail. You are not going to leave a question. You are going to go to one of these meetings. And should you have a question about commercials, you are in fact going to call SAG. That's what you're going to do. That is what you are going to do. Do it. So Katie and Katie, I can't thank you enough for your service, for coming over and recording with me. I am really excited about these contracts. I think they're really great. And as Katie said, she has run her numbers. Katie works a lot of commercials, you guys, and she ran the numbers against her other commercials that she's booked in the past. And it's a great deal. I mean, we are really keeping a contract consistent with the changing landscape of our business. And we have listened to the other side. We have listened to our own side, and we have happily come up with a very exciting multiple term contract that I personally am voting yes on. Enthusiastically, I'm very excited. So thanks, everyone. This show is produced by Jesse Lumen, my now husband. What's up? You guys, he's still so handsome. This episode is edited by Patricia Cuffie-Jones and Thomas Snodgrass. Also, shout out to Thomas for the mic assistance now and then. It's still good to have your sound guy across the street. Show music is brought to you by Ari De Niro. Theme song assistance is by Aalok Mehta and 108 Hill. Thanks, everyone. And don't forget your towel.